Firstly, folks, welcome. One thing I want to emphasise, if I say something that you're not clear about, if you don't understand what I'm asking you to do or what I'm trying to explain, please stop and ask. No embarrassment. There are even in speaking English, there is terminology that's different in different equestrian sports. Changing the rein, for example. Changing the rein, just one example. When you ask someone to change the rein, when you're in the riding school, it means changing from the left lead to the right lead. Changing the rein, if you're riding a racehorse, means shorten the rein to go faster. So the terminology can be confusing at times. So if you don't understand me, please, please, please say, could you explain that again, or I'm not 100% clear. This is a high-risk game, this cross-country riding. Cross-country is everything that happens outside of a riding hall or a riding stadium. Steeplechasing, fox hunting, drag hunting, trail riding, eventing, whatever happens outside is a completely different sport. The main problem I have as a cross-country trainer is that a lot of people are trained to ride in the confines and the security of an arena, and they get confused when they come out here. They have the wrong information, and they have, in a lot of cases, the wrong equipment. The main difference for us between cross-country and inside there is the fences don't fall and the ground is uneven, undulating, broken, wet, rough, whatever you want. So we have to ride in a slightly, the word I use is more defensive rather than attacking manner. Okay, now I'm going to, just this little log here, I'm going to let Lotte go first. I'm going to let you all go together at a canter. Just when you're cantering, light gallop, 200 or 300 metres a minute, cantering over this log, I'm looking at your horses. When we've cantered 2 or 3 times, then I'll ask you to trot, then I'll be looking at the riders. Okay, Lotte, so can you take them around here, please? If the person in front of you has problems, that's their problem. You go about your business. If you do have a problem, don't interfere with the person behind.
Good boy.
This cross-country riding is a high-risk sport, as I've already said. You cannot eliminate the risk, but you can definitely reduce and control it by being very clear on understanding some basic rules. You've got to be clear that you understand them, and you definitely have to apply them and do them. Okay? What's required in cross-country is to do the minimum. All the fancy stuff, leave that for the arena. Maybe you want to fold down and look sexy when there's a camera on you, but in the main, try and be nice and safe. Now, the first rule, as far as I'm concerned, in cross-country riding is where do you keep your hands and why? I'm going to make suggestions and say things to you. I'm going to tell you why you do it and how you do it. Okay? A lot of times people say do this, do that. I want to make sure you're clear why you're doing it and how you do it. Rule 1, where do you keep your hands? Watching the hands, please. Clear on my hands, please. It doesn't matter what the speed is, what speed you're going at. Your hands never leave that position in cross-country riding. Now, one or two have been listening to me before. Don't you speak. Does all the new riders, do you know why that is so important? That is rule 1. Why is it so important? Now, remember, out there watching you, you'll see yourself in the camera. More than half, 2/3 of you had your hands out here and all over the place. You are guaranteed, there's no if, it's a guarantee that if you ride cross-country often enough, you're going to get into trouble. You're going to stumble, galloping down a hill, broken ground, the horse can just stumble. In the main, cross-country horses try to jump the fence. They know that if they don't leave the ground, if they bang into it, it's going to hurt them. They know that very quickly, so they try to jump. What does happen is they rub a knee off it or they rub off the fence, they get unbalanced, and then they're in trouble. If the horse is in trouble and you're in front of the centre of gravity, you have no chance. Your two hands stop you going in front of the horse's centre of gravity. If you're in front of the centre of gravity when you're in trouble, it's bye-bye time. Okay, we're clear on the centre of gravity. Okay, now, being on the centre of gravity is very difficult for most riders. It might be achievable by Mark Todd and those kind of geniuses, professional jockeys and people like that. But to be on the centre of gravity, when you're galloping especially, is quite difficult. So, Lucinda Green, one of the greatest horsewomen of all time, she won badminton 6 times on 6 different horses, said when you're riding cross-country, keep 75% of the horse in front of you. Now, to be clear on the centre of gravity, here's the horse, head and neck, back and tail. And here's our rider. Okay, at the halt, standing or even trotting, there's a slight little tilt in the trot. At the canter, it moves slightly forward, and at full gallop, only slightly more forward. It's an illusion to people that jockeys are out there. They're only out there in the last 50 metres when they're trying to win the race. A jockey at all times has his shoulders over his knees. If your shoulders are in front of your knees, when you're jumping or you're galloping, you're at risk. Shoulders go over the knees. The crouching style of a jockey is an aerodynamic thing. So the centre of gravity, standing still, walking, trotting, slightly forward cantering and just slightly more forward galloping, that is the centre of gravity. You stay behind that at all times. Your two hands here stop you going forward in the risk area if something goes wrong. And it's guaranteed it will go wrong. Mark Todd wrote an article about his efforts in the Olympics next week, and in one of the latest English horse magazines, and he said, if you're nervous, don't ride cross-country. Well, I don't necessarily agree with him, because I do think that in the course of the next few lessons that we do, I want you to understand carefully where the risk is. If you improve your balance, because we will be doing gymnastic exercises with the bank, if you improve your balance, your confidence will improve. And if your confidence gets good, the nervousness wanders away. Okay, girls? I'd like you to pay attention, because I don't want to be picking you up off the ground, and I don't want to be sending you to the dentist when you get your teeth smashed off the front of his head here. Okay? Now there's no stories. I left 7 teeth there. I left the top 3 and the bottom 4 right there. Okay, so I've been through it all. Okay, wise man learns by other people's mistakes, the fool by his own. Now look, I emphasize, don't hesitate to ask me any questions if you're in any doubt. Your two hands are together in front of the saddle in case there is a problem. One time, please, one more. Now, there are a couple of little issues here I want to mention before we go on. Your two hands are there in case there is a problem. They are not to support your body when you land, because now you've got into the risk zone. You have to have enough balance to be able to take off, jump and land in balance. If you need the horse's neck with your two hands to support yourself, it's only a question of time before you have that lovely fall. So you have to be able to maintain your balance. To prove to you about balance, I won't put my hands down. You have to have balance. Now, straight away this causes problems, because people will say to me in Europe and America, my trainer told me to do this and to do this. I have it all over the place, from California to Cologne.